G'day, I'm Sharyn and this is Vicky. Vicky and I go back a long way, and I made the dress that she's wearing sometime in the early 1970s using shirring. I've got my shirring elastic here. I'm putting it on like that. I would have used a smaller one, but I couldn't find one. I'm going to do this exactly the same way that I would do a normal bobbin winding. So I'm going through the bobbin tensioner. I may or may not actually get it through a hole in the bobbin. Looks like I'm not going to. If I can't get it through, I will wind clockwise around my bobbin and hope that I've got that far enough that it won't come undone. I'm going to wind it fairly slowly. You'll see it wound and filled the bobbin fairly quickly. It's under pressure there. So when I undo this, it's likely that it really wants to try and unwind itself. I'm not fussed about it. I'm going to putting the bobbin in the same way I normally do. And now I'm going to thread the top of the machine with a regular thread. I'm on a straight stitch and I have increased the stitch length as far as I can. Shirring elastic is thicker than regular thread, and as a result it's harder to get it to go into the tension part of the bobbin, and it's also harder to get it to come up under the needle where you normally have your bobbin thread come out, but it is possible to do. At this stage, the top of my machine is thread absolutely normally with normal thread, and the bobbin is wound with shirring elastic, but everything else about it is just the same as it would normally be. I hope you can see that I have got some little marks on this fabric. They're about 1/2 inch apart widthwise, and that's where my lines of shirring are going to go. The piece of fabric I've got is a piece of soft cotton, about a yard or 91 centimetres wide. I hemmed the top and bottom edges of it first, because once the shirring's done, in order to do a hem, you've got to stretch it out, fold it, and sew the hem, all while keeping that shirring stretched out. Much easier to do it when it's a flat piece of fabric. So I will start at the one on the far right and just sew. So I'm trying to make my line keep going to the next dot that matches up. And you can see how much that fabric got gathered up onto the shirring elastic. It's not real shirring at that point, it's just gathering using shirring elastic. But there are some problems. And that's how I gathered up the ruffle on Vicky's dress all those years ago. Would I do it that way now? No, I would not. I would use an overlocker. It is very difficult with shirring elastic to make the gathering even. It just doesn't work very well. The ruffles get pulled along as you're trying to stitch it to the main dress. So it worked, but it's not very even, and no, I wouldn't do it like that now. Real shirring requires you to do multiple rows, and it also needs a little bit of extra work as you do those rows. I'm keeping the fabric stretched out and taut as I sew. When you get to the end of a row, make sure that you pull enough of the shirring elastic through so that it doesn't either feed itself back down into the bobbin area or leave you with too little at the end of the shirring. You really want to give yourself some extra of the elastic there. After 6 rows of shirring, my 36-inch wide piece of fabric is down to 15 inches wide, so it's better than halved it. How much work shirring can do depends on how soft your fabric is, how many rows you have done and how close they are, and also how tightly you have wound the elastic thread onto your bobbin. On this piece, I have got pretty purple thread in the needle. You can in fact do this with different colours of thread. I've done them with rainbows of thread, all sorts of things. The elastic ends up underneath and your top thread ends what you can see on your garment. Shirring is not difficult at all, but there are some things to understand about it, and I wouldn't want to be doing huge amounts. There are fabrics that you can buy that are already shirred. 50 years later, all of the elastic in this shirring has deteriorated and it's not there anymore, which won't surprise anyone. It's a good idea to realise that if you want to do something with that effect on a quilt as an heirloom item, you have to do it with gathering threads as used on a normal sewing machine. That's probably a good way to go. In the meantime, I'd really like to thank Vicky for coming along today and helping me. She did say I should be making her a new dress, but I'm annoyed she can still fit into that one. See you next time.